Good evening, Toasting Adult students. It's a pleasure for you to join me in this presentation. Let's go ahead and proceed to the next part of the lesson. This lesson is adding and subtracting real numbers. I notice some of you still need help in this concept, so we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of review. So let's go ahead and begin. So for this one here, the number line is, you can use a number line to find the sum or difference of two numbers. And here we have the 0. To the right of 0, we have positive numbers. Okay, so to the right of 0, we have positive numbers, and to the left of 0, we have negative numbers. All right, we'll continue here. Right, so let me move this a little bit. There. Right, so here we'll start with positive 3. So we're gonna go here, start at 0. Now, from there, we're gonna go what? Left, or do we go right to find negative 3? Hoping you guys notice that you go left to find negative 3. So you go 3 units, you go 1, 2, 3. So negative 3 units to the left. And then from there, we're gonna add 5. So from there, we're gonna add 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which should end up right here. Okay, and that number is going to be, voila, 2. All right, so hopefully you guys got that one. One more time, the negative 3, you start at 0, go 1, 2, 3, and then add 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, that was one way to do it. Let's do another problem. All right, so for the next one here, you have 5. So you can either go and count all the way to 5, or I know that 5 is here, right? So you can start at the number. So you start here from 0, you go to 5. Now from here, right, from this number here, let me emphasize this number. So from the number 5 here, you're gonna go negative 8 units to your left, okay? So for here, you're gonna go negative 8 units. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So your answer should be negative 3. So you went from positive 5, and you went negative 8 units to the left. So your answer should end up at negative 3. Okay. Hope you guys are understanding this. Let's go to the next one. All right, so let me go over the next one here. So for this one, you start at negative 2. All right, so for negative 2 here, you start at negative 2, and then you're gonna subtract 3 or go another 3 to the left. Okay, so let me show you how that works. So from this one here, you'll go, so you count 1, 2, right? So negative 2. So let me circle that so you go. So you started here, right? But from there, you went 3 units to your left. So 1, 2, 3. And now your answer should be negative 5. Okay? So the answer should be negative 5. All right, so I have developed a little properties here for you guys to know. So adding and subtracting integers diagram. So here is basically what I did. I created a diagram to help you understand. So when you're adding and subtracting integers, whenever you have the same sign, so you want the same sign, you're going to add. If the signs are different, think of subtraction. So if they're the same, you're going to add. If they're different, you're going to subtract. Okay, so here's when you have when they are the same, you will add. If they are different, you will do subtraction. And when you add, you're gonna do this next step, which is to keep the common sign. And I put an example here. So I put negative 2 minus 5 is equals to negative 7, and negative 2, the minus will become plus a negative. That's the definition of subtraction. So let me put that here. A minus B, that's equals to A plus a negative b. By definition, a subtraction is the addition of the opposite. Okay, so I used that property here. The minus 5 became plus a negative 5. So now I have the same signs, right? So the same, I add them, and I keep the common sign. So here I have negative 2 plus negative 5. The common sign is a negative, so I add them and keep the common sign, and my answer is negative 7. On this side over here, I'm going to move my picture. For this side here, you guys have negative 15 plus 4. So notice that the signs are different. So you're going to keep the sign of the larger absolute value. So you're going to do subtraction. So, but I think of this one as like, okay, if I know that they're different, I'm going to do 15 minus 4. And my answer will be 11. Now, all you need to worry about is keep the sign of the larger. And keep the sign of the negative, since the absolute value of negative 15 is positive 15 and is greater than the absolute value of 4. So this is what I'm showing you here. So if I take the absolute value of negative 15, that's equals to positive 15. If I take the absolute value of 4, that's equals to positive 4. Now, which one is greater, the 4 or the 15? Okay, obviously you guys, the one that's greater is the 15. Since 15 has the negative sign, the answer will be negative. So notice here my final answer is negative. All right, so let me go to the next slide. And feel free to pause the video and go over what I just said. And go to the next slide, okay? So you're gonna have two scenarios. Scenario one will be put right here. There are only two cases for positive and negative, right? So you can either have the signs could be the same, or the signs could be different. So let's see what happens when they are the same. All right, so case one, if we have a scenario where the signs are the same, so here, 3 plus 5, what is our answer? Okay, 3 plus 5 we know is 8. Now, these are scenarios that the signs are the same. Notice here we have negative 3 plus negative 5, and we have negative 3 minus 5. So the signs here are the same. Now, how do you know when the signs are different? Well, let me show you an example right here. So for this one here, let me move my picture from this frame. So here we have different signs, right? So for this one here, we have different signs. Notice here we have a plus and a negative. Those are different. And here we have 9 plus negative 4. Those are different. So only two scenarios. One with the same signs and different signs. All right, so let's see what happens on the next slide here. All right, so let's see what happens here. To evaluate either case is a two-step process. Determine the signs and determine the operation. Let's do that in the next slide. Okay. So for this one here, we have negative 4 minus 4. So what are the signs? We have a negative here and a negative here. So they're the same or they're different. So the signs are the same. And I actually put this little organizer to help you a little bit in case you forgot the rules. So the signs are the same, and the operation, because they're the same, we're going to add. So that will be addition here. Addition, the operation, right? And then we're going to keep the common sign. Because they're both negative, then the sign of the answer is going to be negative. Okay, go ahead and write this down. Pause the video. That way you guys can get some practice. So write down this question here. And then try to get familiar on how to get determine what the signs are, determine the operation, we're going to add them, and the sign of the answer is going to be negative, right? We're going to add them and keep the common sign. All right, so if we add this to 12 plus 4 will be, right? Keep the common sign here because the sign is negative, so our answer will be negative, and the answer should be negative 16. So 12 plus 4 is 16. The sign is going to be negative since we keep the common sign. All right, let's do this one here. So I want you guys to try this here. -8 plus 2. Here we have a positive, a negative, and a positive. So the sign's the same or different? What do you guys think? The signs are different, right? We have a negative and a positive. The operation is going to be what if they're different? So let's check right here. I forgot, Mr. Vasquez. Well, let's find out. Same and different. So different will be subtraction. So this should be our answer. Okay, so this will be subtraction. All right. So the sign of the answer, well, let's take the absolute value of each of them. So let's take, if we take the absolute value of -8, right, the answer will be +8. Take the absolute value of 2, that's the distance in numbers from 0. That's the previous class that we did. So the distance from 0 to -8 will be +8. The distance from 0 to 2 will be 2. 2 is smaller than 8. 8 is larger than 2. Because 8 has the negative, then the sign will remain negative. So my answer here will be negative. Now, the operation is subtraction, so I can just do 8 minus 2 is 6, and the sign of the answer will be negative since this one has the larger absolute value. -6. Before I pause the video, write this down. All right, I'll continue. So here's a note for you. You can write this down also. We have a 4 minus a -5. Whenever you have that case, that turns into a addition of the opposite. So by the formula or by the property I gave you earlier, when we have A minus B, that's the same as A plus a negative B. So this is basically you adding the opposite. Well, the opposite of a negative will be a positive. So we adding the opposite. Okay. Let's go to that one. So the double negatives, think of that double negatives like a -1 here times -5. That would be +5. Or think of the property here. The minus is the same as adding the opposite. Double negatives makes a positive. All right, let's go to the next one. That is basically it, you guys. Here are the 5 problems for you to try. Let me go back to this one here. I want you guys to try these problems. And okay, I just wanted to emphasize this concept one more time. The negative in front of a negative will make it a positive. Okay, so the double negatives makes a positive. All right, this is it, you guys. Thank you for watching. Here's the practice problems for you. So I want you guys to do questions 1 through 6. You're gonna try this, okay? You're gonna write this in a piece of paper, and you're gonna use the number line to find the sum or difference. So here is the number line, and you guys can write this down. Pause the video right now, okay, and write this down. So it's only 6 questions. You guys can do it. Once you pause the video and try this out, I want you guys to actually go over the answers, okay? Pause the video and the answers will be projected on the next slide. So here's, pause the video first. Okay, after you do the problems, you can proceed the video, and here's the answers. Okay, here are the answers for your work that you have done. Okay, hopefully you guys got 100%. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, see you guys next week. It's a pleasure. Please continue doing your job and continue doing your homework so you can keep up with your studies. All right, thank you.